Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Here is Asma Shaheen from Rehan School Islamabad Campus. I'm principal of Rehan School Islamabad Campus. I'm uh, I can't share my excitement that I have a very amazing guest, and today we are going to discuss about the leadership. Today I'm joined by John Roberts. He is founder of Key Leadership Institute, a global leadership development consultant, values-based leadership specialist, and passionate advocate for personal growth with decades of experience empowering leaders worldwide. Jan brings unique insight into leadership, culture, and the future of AI. So let's welcome. Hello, and how are you, Jan?
Salam, Asma, and thank you very much for inviting me. I also want to thank Mr. Rehan, my dear friend, for connecting us, and it's a pleasure for me to be here. And I'm wonderful and really excited about today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jen. It's a pleasure for us, and you are sharing your precious time, and we will discuss about leadership today. First, Jen, I just want to ask from you. For my audience, please introduce yourself.
Well, thank you very much. You've already done a great job, and I mean it's wonderful. I am actually originally from the Netherlands, and then we emigrated to Scotland in the late 70s, which makes me a kilt-wearing Dutchman. And for the last 11 years, I've been in South Africa, where I'm happily married to a South African lady. And we run two training companies. One is the Key Leadership Institute, as you mentioned already, and the other one is a diversity, equity, and inclusion, all about transformational team building. So we cover everything from all the kind of people skills, behavior analysis, learning styles, presentation, heart-centered sales, because we're heart-centered people, both of us. My wife is compassion, and she's writing a book, The Compassionate Leader of Influence, Dr. Arthie Moore-Robberts, and I'm writing a book about the power of values. We're both also values-based leadership specialists, and we train people to embrace values. And of course, as you said, AI is also very much in the picture now. Outside of that, we are also professional speakers, and I also work with farming projects, because I believe that we need more people to become profitable farmers, so we need to grow more food so less people are suffering.
Yeah, amazing. And you and your wife both are doing amazing job. Please, can you share your journey and what you led you to found Key Leadership Institute first?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. Yeah, I'll keep the journey short. I was in the oil industry for 30 years, and even before I started there, I was bullied as a kid. So at 17, I got into personal development, and that was only because somebody gave me a book. It was called How to Win Friends of Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and that was the start at 17 years old, which is more than four and a half decades ago. I started a journey of personal development, which I do to this day, by the way. The same year, I also started martial arts, it's Ki Aikido, and I also do that to this day, and it's more about personal development and internal power. But then I got into the oil industry and spending a lot of time. When I tell people I spend up to 10 months of the year in hotel rooms, people think it's wonderful. 2-3 weeks is wonderful. 10 months, not so much anymore. So I had it gave me the opportunity to actually learn a lot and study a lot. And I was studying coaching and personal development and leadership and self-care and all those kind of things that help me to become a better person, so I can help other people also. And that is to make more valuable, to make my time more valuable. So I also started doing trainings. And in the oil industry, I never hated my job, but I also always had that voice that told me I need to do more. And we've all got that voice, but some of us will never do anything because we're going to do it tomorrow. So for me, I joined the John Maxwell team. Now, John Maxwell is one of the top leaders in the world, leadership gurus. He's written more than 120 books. And in fact, I met Mr. Rehan in Orlando in America after a leadership training, maybe about 8-9 years ago, roughly about that time. So I had the privilege of meeting this gentleman of a man there, and love the work he does, and gets all of you to inspire young people. And I I was asked by John Maxwell. We went to in 2012, and he asked in the beginning of 2013 for volunteers to help start transformation of an entire country. That was the country of Guatemala. Now, we went to Guatemala in 2013, 150 people of us volunteered. And there I came across a process called values-based leadership, which I told Mr. Rehan about as well. Values-based leadership is the most powerful program I've ever seen in my life. And we trained 19,000 leaders in Guatemala in 3 days with Spanish interpreters. Now, the Spanish interpreters were mostly teenagers, because the average age in Guatemala for 14 million people is only 20. So you can imagine the problems. But what happened there is it changed my life. I came back on the way home. It had such an impression on me. John Maxwell once said, once you've tasted significance, success will never be enough. I did not understand that until then. And when I felt it, I experienced it, and I saw it, I thought, if I don't do anything different now, when will I ever do it? Leave it till tomorrow. And that's where the graveyard is full of people. Like Les Brown said, the richest place is the graveyard. And I said, no, I need to do it now. So I quit my job, had to wait another year because I was a project manager in the oil industry. But I didn't hate my job. I loved training people. I was working with people around the world, with different cultures from all over the world. But when that voice becomes stronger, then your comfort zone becomes your uncomfort zone. So I quit my job, and I went every 6 months to serve in Orlando, and there I met my now wife. We both had a vision of positively impacting millions of people, and that started us to start working together. And we decided, now she's got a company for 28 years, and she's one of the foremost diversity, equity, and inclusion specialists, as well as one of the most powerful female speakers in the world. We both professional speakers, but I always want to speak after her, before her, not after her, because that doesn't do it. And I'm trained by a guy called Les Brown. But we decided to start a leadership institute together, the Key Leadership Institute, and that's how I also came to South Africa. And from there, we are both now global values-based leadership specialists. And that program, I can promise people that when you actively get involved in values-based leadership, it will change your life. Not when, yes, how, and if. And that's the power of it. And we know it's in Pakistan. We were helping some people in Pakistan. There's actually one specialist like us in Pakistan, which we've walked that journey with them. And actually, we both talked on her teaching training school several weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I think. But amazing things are happening. And then there is AI. We're also working with farming as well, because I mentioned that already. But AI, and people are still scaremongering. They say AI will take over the world. AI will take our jobs. And yes, AI is going to change the job market, the same as the car did, the same as internet did, the same as the airplane did, and everything else. But I've read an article last week that said they now think AI will create more jobs than it ever loses. I also tell people about AI. AI will not take your job, but the people who embrace AI will. And the reason for that is because people become more effective, they can become more efficient, and they can do things much faster and much more professional. And that's what's going to make a big difference in the lives of people. So that's really about it. We're both professional speakers, so I love speaking and I love impacting people wherever I go.
Yeah, I agreed with your opinion 100%. I agreed. In our Rehan school, Sir Rehan designed a curriculum where we are making future leaders. His vision is that he wants to make 1,000 future leaders who can solve the country problems. So we are working fifth graders, and amazing results. Such an amazing results that I collected after 1 year, that students are managing the whole our system. As a leader, they are learning AI skills, and they are teaching Even now, our children, our students are teaching to their parents. What they actually learning, they are teaching to their parents, and their parents are become amazed what they are doing. So this is actually leadership qualities that Rehan curriculum is developing fifth grader students age of 8 to 16 for a future leader. And they selected their wallas, like I selected my walla is education wali, and I'm working for education. And I really pleased to connect with you, because today I will learn from you about leadership. So our students are also learning and connecting and making networking, and network is net worth. So they are learning too. So, Jen, my next question from you is, what first inspired your passion for value based leadership? You have lots of opportunities to uh, select for your life, but you select your leadership. Why you select this passion for your life?
And that's a great question. I think we all lead, first of all. When we take this back a little bit, because people always say when you talk about leadership, sometimes when you talk about values-based leadership, oh, values, and then leadership, it's for them. But we are all leaders. We don't all lead everybody in the same amount of places and the same amount of time, but we all lead. Sometimes even in a school ground, we lead a game. I mean, it starts early. But the thing is, we need to decide sometime in life what our big purpose is that we are here for on this earth for. And most people don't find it. And I say to people, find your why. Because once you find your why, you don't even need an alarm clock to get out of bed anymore, because that's where the passion and purpose starts burning inside of you. And for us, it's the people, and for me, it's helping people like you do. You know, you've got a passion for creating the next leaders in your country, with Mr. Rehan, creating this whole overall picture. And he's an amazing gentleman. And I think leadership is something that at some point you either step up or you step back. And I was leading around the world because my drive to help others also got me into training, and I was training people in the inspection industry while nobody else would do it. I was because I studied in the hotel rooms all the time, so my communication skills were much better than most people. So I was their communicator. I helped with lots of personal problems, especially because leadership is all about self-leadership, and self-leadership is all about daily intentional development. Because if you want to become a good leader, you need to develop every single day intentionally. And people say, yeah, but I've got good intentions. No, I'm not talking about having good intentions, because we all have them. And good intentions, people who have good intentions might do something good occasionally. But people who live an intentional life do something good continually. And that's the difference, because if you want to, me and my wife talk about it when we hear about people wanting to leave a legacy. Don't just leave a legacy, live a legacy. So that means that you need to do something intentional today and every day. And you need to make sure that you also stay healthy, because your health and well-being, I also talk into that. I wrote a book about it. Self-care isn't selfish. Becoming healthier happens by choice, not by chance. And that's part of your leadership, because if you want to become a better leader, and if you want to become a great leader, you better stay healthy, and you better have that a base, a foundation based on values, basic human values. And I said, with values-based leadership, when I came back from Guatemala, I mean, I was blown away, and we became global values-based leadership specialists, both my wife and I. We went to Ohio, Berlin, Ohio, to get trained. And values, when people actively get involved with it, everybody will change their life. But what it does is people are starting to sit around the table on a weekly basis and use one value a week to discuss. So we connect, we go from the head level to the heart level, and that's where real leaders need to be. We need to, and that's where AI is sometimes a danger. I'm writing a leadership excellence newsletter in LinkedIn every second week, and I've done the next one that's going to be this week is going to be number 41. But last edition I wrote was about leadership and AI. That yes, we need to embrace it, but we can never forget the fact that we that humans, that the people are the biggest resources we've got in this world, and we need to take care of them. We can't just say, okay, we'll ask AI and we'll do this with AI and start to treat people like robots. We need people to be compassionate. We need to go from the head level to the heart level. When we connect with the heart level, we build relationships. And funnily enough, building relationship is all that leadership is all about. Because John Maxwell said, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And John Maxwell is I don't know if I mentioned it already, but he's the top leadership expert in the world. He's written more than 120 books on the subject. But people said, how do I get influence over people? I said, no, that's the wrong question. How do you get influence with people? And you get influence with people and become a better leader when you start building relationships. So how do you build good relationships? Ask better questions. Oh, and how do you do that then? Listen better. Everything starts with listening. So leaders are not talkers, leaders are listeners. Much more so, they listen much more than they talk, because when you talk, you let people know what you know. But when you listen, you get to know what you don't know. So the more we get to know, the more we can assist and help other people. And funnily enough, when you talk about asking questions and becoming a better listening, that's coaching. So you need to learn coaching skills, because you can become a great coach without becoming a good leader, but you'll never become a great leader without becoming a good coach. So I hope all this comes a bit together. But all that drove my passion, and I said, as you do as well, in the school you're working with, it shows that you are passionate about creating better leaders, and the passion to help other people become the best version of themselves is a passion that we all share already. We all in different ways, and that's really where my wife and I connected initially in Orlando, because we both had a vision of impacting millions of people together, and that passion has been growing and growing, and it's beautiful. And that's about significance, doing things for other people. It's beautiful when we can do things for ourselves, but it's even more beautiful when we can help any other people in a small way. And you did it in a big way in the schooling system as well. No doubt there's outside of that as well. But to hear that these young people already are leading their parents into a better path, and actually that is leadership, it's wonderful to hear.
Yeah, you are saying that our students are listening TED talks, and you mentioned that the leader should be good listeners as well. So I just want to ask from you that what does value based leadership mean in practice?
That's a good question. Values-based leadership in practice means that Les Brown, he's also my friend and mentor. He's the #1 motivational speaker in the world, an African American. If you never heard from him, look him up. You'll be inspired by how he talks. He said a long time ago, leadership is failing around the world because of a lack of values. So and that happens everywhere. So that means we need to get values back into our life. We need to ensure that the youth of today, and also the adults, of course, but we need to be better examples to our youth, better role models based on values. So, and we also need to lead them. And that doesn't mean these fancy values on a wall in a big office. No, these are basic human values like listening, connecting, respect, hope, forgiveness, restraint, developing yourself, developing people, ethics, all those kind of integrity, transparency. There is so many of those. But we need to learn them, because we have all seen examples of leaders, and we don't only have to see them at the top, we see them everywhere, that leaders are failing because they don't have any values, or they forget about them conveniently when it is time. And people agree with me, and when I tell them that, but how are your values? Because we're all leaders. So we need to learn to say that. Somebody says, what are the top 3 to 5 values that you have? Whether it's integrity, family, your religion, whatever it is, but you need to have that. And if you don't know it as a student, figure out what your top 3 to 5 values are and put them on a bit of paper. Read it every day. So when somebody asks you, at first you might have to look on a bit of paper, but eventually you know it. It's ingrained in you. Because if we don't build a society, and it doesn't matter which country and which society and which community, which race, religion, ethical background, gender, political affiliation we come from, if we don't build our own lives based on basic human values, we at some point have a good chance that we will fail in life. So we set ourselves up for failure. And that's what the power of values is for our own lives. And the great thing about studying those values on a weekly basis, we get to learn more about other people, because we all talk about ourselves. There is no judgment in the groups. And we train and certify facilitators in this powerful process. And we've been working with, I mentioned Guatemala, we've been to Paraguay as well, Costa Rica, we've been to Ireland, we went online with Transformation Lebanon, Transformation Bangladesh, and we've also worked amazingly with Pakistani peoples as well. So, and of course here in Southern Africa. So this is something that we must never forget. AI is here to stay, but we need the human touch, and that is where the real leadership makes sure that we stay connected as humans to our fellow human beings and respect, honor, and value them for who they are, the same as who we are.
Yes, I agree, because with the human touch, we can learn from life, your life experiences. As you mentioned, you have worn many hats. Like you are a coach, you are a speaker, you are author. So, just I want to know that how do you balance these roles while staying true to your purpose?
How do you balance this? A good question. I don't really know if it really needs balancing, because different things come up at different times of the week or the day, and I get inspired by so many of these kind of things. Sometimes there is not enough time in the day to do these kind of things, so then we need to choose. But whatever comes up for the right reason at the right time. Sometimes it's frustrating to us because we don't like certain things, but when certain things come up, they come to us for a reason that means that it's going to build us. It builds our resilience. It builds our belief in ourselves and belief in other people and belief in humanity. But with all these different, I mean, sometimes I do coaching, and executive coaching. Sometimes I do a training for facilitators. I do presentations quite often now on AI and how AI can not only help you in your life and transform the way you live, especially with the tools we've got available now, but also the fact that people can earn money by embracing AI, which is also very important because it's going to be here to stay. We might as well learn how we can make money rather than just use it. But all the and then there is farming as well, because when I found out that in Africa, there is 282 million people suffering from malnutrition, and up to 280,000 people a day die from hunger and poverty, and most of them children, by the way. I was shocked. I thought Africa, for example, has got 60% of the world's uncultivated farmland, and the average age is 60% is 35 years and younger. And when farming is aging, we need more food for people. It's a country where yet so many people are dying every day. It touched me deeply, and I said we need to do things. So every time there is new things pulling, now how can we do things for these people, and how can we do? So we're working in groups, and we collaborate and partner with companies from locally as well as further afield. How can we do things, because we're so much stronger together? And that's also a great thing about leadership. In leadership, we need to find people who are better in things than we are, and find them and either create an inner circle of people that not who the same as us, because we don't need them really. We want people who are different, and create an inner circle or a mastermind, or start working with people so we can gain from them, but also get advice and also work with them around the world. Even the world is our oyster now, and as I said, in the AI butler we're going to get, it's going to speak like me. There is not another one that actually does it exactly, but it's going to speak like me, exactly the way I do, which is going to be fascinating, but in any language around the world. So I can listen to myself speak in Urdu or any other language, and it sounds like me. But the power of that is that we can reach more people. So we should use it for good and reach more people. But to get back to the balance, I think when you're passionate about all these kind of things, balance doesn't come in the equation. What we sometimes need to be wary of is that in the process we don't run over people and we don't forget our family. And sometimes I've been guilty of it, that I've been so busy doing things and so excited that I sometimes forget about the people closest to me. And that is something I want to warn people about. Always remember the people around you matter most, because
Yeah.
otherwise, why do you do it?
Yeah, I agreed with you, because the same situation happening with me. I always forget the people that are around, especially family. So this is the very right opinion that you are sharing. Can you share a real life story where values based leadership made a significant difference in your in an organization?
Yes, I've got many. I mean, I've got them from even the informal areas, because values are for everyone. A quick one about an informal area here near us in Johannesburg, in South Africa, is that we brought values in there. It changed the way people, women were standing together because they were basing on values. They were helping each other. There was not so much xenophobia. There was not so much gender-based violence, because women were supporting each other in these groups, because now they were connecting at the heart level and supporting each other based on values. There is a whole story behind that, but I mean, it changed the way they were living, even in the informal areas. But quickly, I'll take this to a company. The first time we walked into this company, you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. It was poisonous. You could feel it when you walked in. There was something far wrong with the company. There was gossip, there was backbiting, there was animosity, there was in-house fighting, all these kind of things. And we found out that the different departments didn't work with each other. So when we brought values in, and there's a value every single week, a simple two-pager, it's a simple process, and a value every week. And what we did was we made sure that we asked for volunteers who wanted to become facilitators. So first, a certain amount of 15, 20% of the people we train to become facilitators. And we do this online as well as in person. And then we made them create groups, not only in their own department, but cross department, and also up and down with the CEO and the tea lady and everything in between. So now these people are sitting in small groups, four or five or six at a time around the table once a week for about an hour. And the value, they talked about the value and what it meant to them. So we by me, because when we talk about and people, it's usually irrelevant. But now we're talking about ourselves. So you get to learn about me, I get to learn more about you every single week. There was no judgment. And the reality was that the values are merely the tools for people to start connecting at the heart level. Within 5 weeks in that company, people walked in who didn't know what was going on, and they said, something has changed here. And they couldn't put a finger on it, but say something has changed here. And the change carried on, and people kept changing, and they're still doing these values. There is 48 values. I've written another 16. My wife actually wrote the value of compassion herself, and that value was instrumental to start the transformation of Lebanon, because she is compassion. So values matter, and a company needs to be values driven. But all of us, whether we're young students, whether we're older generation like me or somewhere in between, we need to have a set of values that are intrinsic to us, and they're not the same for everybody. But you better have some values that you believe in, because that will help you through life in at times where you might doubt yourself.
Yes, as you mentioned that you and your wife recently delivered to a talk Pakistani teachers. I just want to know about from for the different culture, what similarities and differences do you see in leadership style across different cultures?
Oh, that's a good question. Again, leaders cannot be the same. They will never be the same. They should never be the same, because good leaders should adapt to the environment they're in, the culture, the race, the religion. All these kind of things have a way that influences with us in which they lead. That's why my wife also always talks about it, that when leadership material comes from America, we need to Africanize it, because a lot of that kind of stuff doesn't work in Africa, and it wouldn't work in Pakistan either, or in India, or anybody in the Asian countries the same, because it's a different concept. So we need to, for example, my wife is great at bringing in African principles of leadership. Now, when there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can do no harm, is one of the wonderful things. And there are so many of those kind of things that really help. Umshlagano, which is a whole a Zulu word, and that's where there is all things about Omakalwana, and that talks about neighbors helping each other. So we need to bring in all these kind of things where we are. So if you're a leader traveling to another country, you better start understanding the culture there, because otherwise you're preaching at them. And that's what we're very careful with. We always find out what audience we have, but there is no one leadership style that is good. The only thing they should all have in common, wherever you are, is that you need to build relationships. Because if you can't build relationships, you won't lead. John Maxwell has a silly quote. He said, if you think you're leading and nobody is following, you're merely taking a walk. Think about that. But I mean, that means that you have nobody following you. How can you, what are you leading if at best yourself? So leadership always starts with self-development and self-leadership, because you cannot give what you haven't got. And that comes from your environment. You better be aware of your environment, where you want to lead and where you will lead, because we all lead at some point. So we need to embrace our environment. We need to find out what is important to the people around us, what is important to the people we want to lead, and the people we are already leading. And then make sure that we embrace that and understand it. That's where diversity, equity, and inclusion comes in. And the word inclusion is the most important. We need to understand the diversity. We need to understand the equity we work in, but we better start including it in all we do. So I think that as far as leadership is concerned, we need to know where we lead. And if we become global leaders, we need to become globally more aware. I mean, there is no such thing as just, okay, we only work with Christian people, we only work with Islamic people, Muslim people, or we work with Hindu people. If we're going to be working globally, we need to become more aware of everything that goes on, that we also don't offend people, because that's so easy. I mean, for example, I went to Iran 7 years ago to train in leadership in Tehran, and I already knew that especially Muslim women don't go and shake hands. That is a no-no, So I was there with another person who doesn't come from here, and he didn't understand that, and he started shaking hands with people, and I stood back, and I said to the lady, to one of the ladies, "May I ask you a question?" I said, "I've been taught, especially that we need to be respectful in a different way to women in the Muslim society, and that we cannot shake hands with them. And I see it happening, and should I apologize for him and take him aside now?" She said, "Well, there is different areas, different sects. Yeah, there's 69 different ones, I believe. And there is some of them that are not quite as strict as others, and we are in the not so strict one, so we do shake hands." I say, "No, then it's okay, but before I offend people, I just wanted to make sure." But it's a simple little thing, but it's about understanding the different cultures and making sure that you respect them, because it is so easy that unknowingly we can disrespect people or upset them. So as leaders, we need to become very aware where we're going, not only what we're doing, but what the other people are doing. And then we can lead much better, because people, we won't connect at the heart level with people if we disrespect people, whether it's their religion, their culture, their race, their communities. All these things are important.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this session, and lots of questions in my mind. Just I want to learn from you. Another question, that is, what practical step can leaders take today to start using AI in their professional lives?
A great question. And as I said already, I wrote the newsletter that leaders need to use AI, but they also never can forget about the humanity. That's the first thing. When they start using AI, remember, you work with humans. Humans are more important. They are the most important asset you've got in any organization or in any community. So that's a most important point. But leaders must also realize that there is more effective ways to do things. And AI should be a tool, the same as the values are a tool to help you. AI should also become a tool. I mean, we are going to have an AI butler in the next 3 weeks. I'm actually helping with the beta testing just now. And what it's already doing, it blows my mind. GPT and other ones, they have amazing tools as well. But this brings every good point from all of them together in one tool. And it's going to transform the way we do life and business and live in society. However, Having said that, leaders must understand that AI is out there. Leaders must embrace the AI and encourage their people to use it, because as a company, as an organization, we can become far more effective. But we also must know its limitations. We never must allow AI to lead us. I mean, there's a scaremonger ago, AI, the robots will run the world. I was actually at a festival in the south of England about a month ago called Goodwood, the Festival of Speed, and there was a future lab, and it's all about AI with drones, and there was a robot there as well. And people say, oh, that's going to, yes, they're building armies of robots now. Okay, let them fight each other. So we've saved the people. Nothing wrong with that. But they say, yeah, but they're going to run our world. AI will only run our world when we allow it. Somebody said in 5 to 10 years, AI, there is no boyfriends or girlfriends anymore. AI will become your boyfriend or girlfriend. I say, not at all. If that's going to happen, then who is going to be responsible for that? It's us, adults. It's us, teachers. It's us, we're all teachers of children, and we all need to take that responsibility. But if we allow our youth to actually get that much ingrained in those kind of things, that there is no relationship building anymore, then we causing a problem, and we're certainly not creating leaders. And that is not what I know. Mr. Rehan wants to create better leaders, to 1,000 leaders, to create a better Pakistan, and that will not happen if they can't communicate anymore. They can't connect at the heart level. So I think we need to embrace it. It's going to be a great tool for all of us, but we also need to make sure that humans matter first and foremost.
Yes, yes, you are right. So my second last question from you is, what's one leadership lesson you wish you had learned earlier?
Oh, well, that's a great question. Probably all of them, but no. I mean, uh, what is the one? Great question. The one leadership lesson I wish I had learned early. Oh, I mean, I've learned so many. I wish I'd learned to coach earlier. The skill of coaching, and that doesn't mean that we need to become coaches, but being able to have coaching conversations means exactly that we need to be able to ask better questions, open-ended questions, to have better discussions, and then start
Okay.
listening. I love talking, but I mean, at some point I need to keep my mouth shut. And as a young person, I mean, I'm very excited about what I do, so it's very easy for me to talk. It was always a lot more difficult, but when I started to understand coaching, and that was in 2009, so that's already 17 years ago, and I've done 3 coaching trainings altogether. But when I started to understand that, life changed for me, because I know strangely enough, I'd been already coaching for 25 years, because when I trained people, I asked how they got to the questions. I wanted to know how they thought. Otherwise, I couldn't help change things. I could give them the answers because I was an expert in my field, but that wouldn't help them. I might as well give them the book. So I think if you learn to ask better questions and then really listen to people, you will learn a lot more. You build better relationships, because building relationships is all about the person in front of you. It's never about you. And that's, I mean, I was so talkative all the time, and when you're talkative, you sometimes forget about the people around you. So that for me was it's not the only one, but certainly an important lesson I wish I'd learned earlier.
Oh, that's amazing. So, my last question from you is, if you could leave our audience with one actionable step to become a better leader, what would it be?
For me, it's always simple, because I'm sometimes people call me a self-development freak, and I see that as a compliment rather than. But I would make sure that you do something every day to become a better person, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be in the same place all the time, but develop yourself every single day. Because if you do that every day, the compound effect will be such that in this time next year, if you do it intentionally, so intentional daily development. Remember that, do something, make it part of your plan every day, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half an hour, it doesn't matter, but do something every day to learn something, whether it's about communication, whether it's about the people behavior, whether it's about anything in leadership. Find out what you can do, set up a plan, but do it intentionally every day, and I can guarantee you that with the help of the people of Rehan School and the amazing people that are guiding you, I can promise you that you will become the leader that this world needs, that Pakistan needs you to be.
Oh my God, it's an amazing message that you shared with us. So, I really enjoyed today's session. You have shared such powerful thoughts about the leadership, and it's been a pleasure for learning from you. And I really, really enjoyed this session as well. And thank you so much for your precious time and for your precious thoughts that you share with us. And I just want to ask from you that if your wife can spare 30 minutes for me, so it will be a pleasure for me to learn from her too. And as you are discussing about your wife too, so I was thinking that there must be a 30-minute session with her. And I hope I will learn from her too. And you both are amazing, and you both are doing amazing jobs. Thank you so much for the precious time.
And thank you very much. And also thank you, Mr. Rehan Alawala, for making this happen. He's a dear friend and an amazing person, amazing, generous person as well. And yes, my wife's not here just now, but I look forward to connecting her as well, because I know the two of you will get on, because women really rule this world, and they're the mothers, they're the inspiration, and she's also a powerhouse as you are. So thank you very much,
Thanks.
everybody. It has been a pleasure and a privilege to be here, and I wish you all an amazing rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz.
Bye bye.